Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Relationship Pub. So we are still on the topic sexual desires and sexual feeling, and so today we'll be looking at the purpose of sex, and that's what we need to understand. So because nowadays everyone just keep having sex in a very awkward way. Because I said something in my last video. I said sex is sacred. Now, what's the purpose of sex? Now, the reason why sex was created is for a man and a woman to create this everlasting bond. And that is why sex is meant to be had between a married man and a married woman. And that's why, it's very important for us to understand this, but nowadays everyone just keeps having sex. Sex is not a commodity. Sex shouldn't be a commodity. Sex should be sacred. But now anyone can have sex any way, any system whatsoever. But sex is meant to be between a man and a woman to create a lasting bond. Because now sex exists because of a woman. Because back then, the serpent never needed to go to Eve. Let's say Eve, sorry. The serpent never needed to go to Adam. Rather, the serpent went to Eve. Why? Because the serpent knew that Eve was sex. It's like woman is sex and sex are women. Sex. In fact, you can't really differentiate the both of them. Because sex came as a result of a woman. So we need to understand this because when a man is enjoying, it's because of a woman. When a man is suffering, it's because of a woman. Just imagine if women do not exist in this world. I think men are really, really going to suffer. I think all men, we men, I think we are really going to suffer. Because how are we going to be having sex then? We can't have sex between ourselves. Rather, we need a woman. But nowadays, men are having sex with men. That's the reason why I said watch my other video, manipulation. Sex is a spirit, and because sex is a spirit, then it can be manipulated. Because I don't see in what world where a man needs to be having sex with another man. And so back then we all know, every story of how the sons of God came down, and they started having sex with the daughters of men. And so that was, the beginning of, how sex was being manipulated. And that's why before the serpent came, after the serpent came, the sons of men, the sons of God came down on earth, and then they started, doing all manner of crazy things. And that's where, the abomination of, that sex spirit was manipulated to the core. And that's why we live in a world where, when a man wants to have sex, he can, when he sees a woman, walking, and then this desire comes, and then he decides to rape the girl. And that's the problem that we're having today. Everyone wants to have sex. I don't see why you shouldn't go and get married and then have sex. Why would you want to do that kind of a thing? So please, guys, as we continue watching the videos, we're going to be understanding more about sexual desires and sexual feelings. So share this so that we understand the purpose of sex.